Well, this is my library. David Rockefeller had been our banker, our family's banker. So he communicated with Albert Einstein. The other people at the table were 4 Nobel Prize winners. He could invest. He decided, this is before anybody used the term angel investing or startup. My entrepreneur has sent me a text message saying, it's been a great privilege to work with you over the last year.
David, good to see you again. Wow. I am good. How are you doing? Happy summer.
Thank you. We are now sitting in the National Arts Club, which is one of the great private clubs in New York City.
Why did you pick this place?
Well, this is my library.
Wow. And do you print some of the book yourself?
We do. So this is a collection of books about printing, about the history of the art of the book. I'll pick up ink over here, come down the pipe, and press this in there. This is an old...
You are still printing things?
Oh yeah, this is an old...
How many books do you have?
There are over 6,000 books in the collection.
That's wonderful. How did you get your interest into books?
I grew up in a bookish household. There were probably 10,000 books in my house growing up, and reading books and the love of reading was inculcated from the earliest time in my life. So for our major birthday presents and graduation presents and achievements, instead of getting a car or a piece of jewelry or a gadget, we got a book. And so as a family, when we would go out for a family dinner, after dinner, we'd go to a bookstore that was open late at night. And that was the most fun experience that we had.
Oh,
and
I
I now do that today with my own family.
Sounds like family means a lot to you.
So family is critically important. And family has been such an overriding foundation for everything that I have done in life. My parents' grandparents came to the United States as immigrants. They had large families. If you look at this family, you have different types of genes or different types of attributes that go through. So in our family, some people are very musical. Red hair. When I was a child, I had bright fire engine red hair. And one of these is entrepreneurship. My great uncle, David Rose, after whom I was named, this is the first David Rose. So he was born in the 19th century. This was somebody who didn't get out of 6th grade in school. And so he was a totally self-made man, and he was very entrepreneurial himself, and he started a number of businesses, including eventually a real estate construction and development business with his brother, my grandfather. He was the guy who invented the idea of the through-the-wall air conditioner and was the first people to put it in their buildings. He decided, this is before anybody used the term angel investing or startups or anything like
VC.
Or VC. But my uncle realized that there is innovation all over the world, and that sometimes it takes risk capital, it takes money. He traveled around the world and found interesting kinds of technologies and inventions, and he would bring it back to the United States and provide the money, provide the equity capital, the seed funding that would let that turn into a business. So he communicated with Albert Einstein. He communicated with all kinds of people who were of his generation. Once when I was in college, he invited me to come down for lunch, and I came down for lunch and found that the other people at the table were 4 Nobel Prize winners. And then my father, who is his nephew, is also an entrepreneur and also has helped to fund all kinds of interesting new businesses.
Really nice to meet you.
I compliment you on the wisdom of having chosen this guy.
And so he's been my role model. I was a finalist for the E&Y Entrepreneur of the Year Award in New York in the dot-com boom in 1997. My father, who was a generation ahead of me, won it in 2003, 6 years after me. I followed him from being a child all the way. So there you have somebody who was both an angel investor and an entrepreneur from 2 generations previously. And now you have me as the 3rd generation.
说到纽约的房地产呢，不能不提的就是 David Rose 他们家。那他们家呢，算是纽约呢最古老和最成功的房地产家族之一。在20世纪啊，他们家族拥有的纽约公寓呢超过31000件，还包括呢一些呢地标性的建筑。在纽约的很多地方呢都能找到他们家族的印记。比如说呢，纽约著名的公共图书馆有一栋呢主楼就是以他们家族的名字命名的。另外，从纽约自然博物馆到林肯中心，还有纽约的爱乐乐团，他们的主要捐款人名单上啊都可以找到 Rose 这个家族的名字。Do you think like David is very different when he's very young?
David was born thinking entrepreneurially. When David was a little boy, had a brother, a younger brother who did magic tricks. David wanted to open something called David Rose Productions. He was going to be the manager of his young brother's magic tricks.
I made it clear to him that, of course, as a performer, he needed to have marketing communication materials. He needed business cards and programs and photographic headshots and posters for his magic performances. And so I had my first client, and we provided all of his marketing materials. And that was a great business until after about a year, my one client realized that the total of his revenues equaled the total of my revenues, so I lost my first client. But I then proceeded to start companies in high school, in college, in graduate school, and after there, everything from selling battery additive to make batteries better to in college I ran the printing press, the print shop. When I got out of business school, I founded a company with my business school math professor. We became one of the first computer training companies in New York, it's actually in the world. Over here, the paper comes in like this, right, in here. And then, you wash yourself. Okay. And then it prints it out over here. So, a present to you.
Oh my God, lovely. Thank you so much.
First for fun, and then really interesting companies that were doing some cool things. Software, back when people had pagers. And that got us very involved with communications companies and computer companies like Apple and wireless carriers. And then when the internet came in, we said, okay, well, how about a system you could actually send it through the internet? And so we licensed some patents from Motorola, and we actually built the first device that would be the first wireless internet broadcasting network called Air Media Live. And so it would plug into your computer, and we could send things to your computer. And so that then grew, and that got very big, ended up getting a lot of venture capital investment in it. And the product that we released got all kinds of awards and publicity. Unfortunately, we then had 120 people. We had received tens of millions of dollars in venture capital financing. It was actually voted the second best product of the year by the US software industry for the Cody Awards after Microsoft Internet Explorer. But with nobody buying it, that was a very depressing problem. Because it was way ahead of its time. We had offices in New York and California, and splat!
I need something that's going to work here.
I want to be able to take the things I have at home on the road with me.
If I had one in my car, it would be even better.
My dream system would integrate voicemail, email, fax,
And it would have 1, maybe 2 buttons.
So we said, okay, we could serve as the back end for the whole mobile wireless internet. So I went back to my investors and gave them this new idea, and they said, well, we just lost a lot of money on the last one. Maybe, okay, this one will work. We actually started filing patents on our technology, and the patents that we had filed were valued at $120 million within a few months of restarting the company. And so we had everything perfect, and the only thing that could possibly have stopped us is if like the entire internet crashed globally, and like the whole internet business and mobile business all decided to go out of business. Well, okay, that happened, unfortunately, which was very bad. So a second time, splat.
I'm David S. Rose. I'm an entrepreneur and an angel investor. I've started over half a dozen companies of my own. Make mistakes? Who hasn't? But now it's time to learn from them. Who wants a second chance?
I was going to stay down and do whatever it takes and spend years to try and make it work. But clearly the entire industry had evaporated at that point. So my father's advice to me was there are times when you have to let something go.
I am not an appropriate mentor. I don't understand the mindset. I feel it intuitively. David is not only an entrepreneur, he's an analyst of, a philosopher of, a student of entrepreneurial activity. And I find this fascinating.
David 生意做得好啊，那已经是出了名的。像《商业周刊》就评论他是世界上最成功的企业家。不过呢，我认识他的时候，他已经升级为投资人了。那个时候呢，是在一个创业比赛，我是创业比赛的主持，David 呢是创业比赛的评委，他的 title 就是著名天使投资人。那在他20多年的投资生涯当中呢，投资过90多个科技企业，算是非常的成功。那之前呢，他也是我们节目的创业导师。那不少我们采访过的创业者啊，在节目上看到他，都来找我联系，想要见他一面，去朝圣一下。因为在他们的心目当中 ，David 就是一个天使教父。How many startups have you to invest in? As an angel investor?
I've invested about 120.
How much money did you put into them?
More than my wife would like me to have invested.
How about the return?
So far, so good. About 30% annual return on my portfolio, which is really quite good.
Which company were you considered the most successful in your angel investor career?
Well, the question is how you define success. There are companies that can change the world. There are companies that have the biggest dollar amount that they were sold for. There are companies where we made the most money. There are companies where you had the most fun. So being an angel investor, there are a lot of different outcomes, including changing the world and having fun. But the primary one is making money. So on that, it would probably be a company called Pond5, which is the world's largest online marketplace for video stock footage.
Welcome to Pond5. We're here to power every stage of your creative process, from concept through to final edit.
So if you were doing a podcast and you needed video of Beijing or New York City aerial shots, you could go online and find it and download it and pay for it. We invested $500,000 in the company, and then we ended up selling it for $130 million. Let's just say that our return on that one was a 60x, 60 times our original investment.
Pretty good. Have you ever missed any big deal?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I've missed deals all the time.
20 investors had been introduced to Airbnb, and I mean, any of them probably could have owned 10% of the company for $100,000. I think like 15 of them didn't even reply to my email. I remember one of them, in the middle of the conversation, he just kind of gets up and leaves, and that's the last I've ever seen of him.
The most famous one is a company came to us called Tote, and they had an online visual shopping platform. And I thought it was interesting. Then I was busy with something else, and I sort of forgot about it. Well, you know, it turned out that the whole visual shopping thing didn't work, and so they actually pivoted the business. They got rid of the shopping piece, but the visual stuff worked, where people could take things that they saw online and pin them onto a thing, and so they changed their name to Pinterest. So yeah, I miss Pinterest.
My name is David S. Rose. I am an angel investor. I'm a serial entrepreneur. Everything you think you know about business and life is actually wrong. So in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to try and tell you why.
No matter how good an entrepreneur is, entrepreneurs by definition are optimistic. They have these wonderfully optimistic projections which show that they're just going to need your investment and then they're going to be very successful and go public and we'll all be rich. In reality, I've invested in 120 companies. I don't think one company has ever hit its numbers, not even close, because these numbers are effectively impossible to predict. Even as an investor, if you look at their projection, you say, okay, they're optimistic, they're an entrepreneur, I will internally in my own brain cut them in half. They still don't hit
Always
them.
discounted.
People think that anybody can be an entrepreneur, and there are no limits to being an entrepreneur in terms of economic or intellectual or social or whatever. And so we are in a globalized economy today where if you really want to do it, there should be nothing really stopping you from doing it. But that being said, in the real world, in my experience over 50 years of this kind of stuff, I will tell you that probably only 1% of the population are natural entrepreneurs. So at the other end, you clearly have Richard Branson or Steve Jobs, or Elon Musk, and that's what it's just in their nature, right?
So what they are saying is entrepreneur is born. You cannot train them.
Nobody is born understanding how to start a company, how to manage people. The entrepreneurship stuff that you're born with is the drive and the vision and the looking at things in a crazy kind of way. But then to make a real company out of that really does take experience and training. So I think entrepreneurship programs are very, very important, which is why I'm involved with them. I teach them, founded one at Singularity U.
起点大学由谷歌和美国宇航局 NASA 共同创办，被称为是创造未来的顶尖学府。每年有超过来自120个国家的4000多人申请，但仅有2%的申请者能被录取，比哈佛还难进。可这并不是一所普通的大学，并不是学习好的就能来上的。在这里上学的人，要么是全球顶尖企业的领袖，要么是高精尖专业的博士、工程师、科学家，总之是一群绝顶聪明、肩负着改变世界使命的人。而他们在这里学习的也并不是一般大学里的学科，而是如何成为科技界和商界的精英和领导者，探索最前卫的科技项目，研究推动世界变革的途径，以应对人类面临的重大挑战。David Rose 在这里创办了金融、创业及经济学科目。
The idea behind Singularity University is that technology is moving so fast that the next big change is going to be when human beings and computers merge. And so from our very first year, a company called GetAround, which was the first of the car sharing systems that actually before Uber, but even better, what it did, it let you share your own car. So you would have you could pull up an iPhone or whatever and say, okay, where's the nearest car? It's available near me. It's on this street corner. Okay, fine. So I'll reserve it. You go over, use your phone to unlock the car, and drive off. Another company is called Matternet, which was designed for to use drones on a mesh network to go and deliver things in places like Africa where there are no roads and things. All kinds of really cool companies are coming out of Singularity University. Anyway, so here I was teaching at Singularity University on the future of finance. You know what? The world is changing so drastically. There is a one-time opportunity to rebuild the entire global financial ecosystem. So that's when I started Gust.
Great to be here again. Oh, always energetic like this. Why do you want to start Gust?
I started Gust not to help me be a better investor, but as an entrepreneur, because I saw that there were all these startups that were being cheaper and cheaper and cheaper to start, and therefore there were all these people out there who could invest in startups more than so. Therefore, with all these companies starting and all this money in these increasingly developed economies that can go to fund that, there's no way to bring all this together. And so Gust was set up as the back-end platform for the entrepreneurial finance ecosystem.
What does Gust do exactly for the startups?
So today, if you want to start a company in the United States, you can come on to Gust as an entrepreneur, click a button, and not the $2,000 to get an app going, for literally less than $200 a month on an ongoing basis, Gust will incorporate the company legally in the United States, set up your taxes and your accountant and your lawyer and your accounting system and your bank account and your payment processing and your credit card, do everything it takes to set up an entire company.
In terms of investors who are on Gust, are they only angels or they are also like later stage investors?
On Gust, we have over 70,000 investment professionals who include individual accredited investors, angel investors who invest themselves, members of angel groups where they put together as a fund and the fund invests, early stage venture capital funds. Gust is really optimized and designed for the early stage entrepreneur up through their first few rounds of venture capital. And after that, you get to be a big company in the stock markets.
Being Being an entrepreneur and being an investor must be a little bit different. But what do you think? What's the similarity between these two?
Being an angel investor is sort of like being a grandparent. You get all the fun of grandchildren without having to change the diapers. So being an angel investor is sort of like being an entrepreneur. You get the fun of entrepreneurship without having to do all the nasty, dirty work, and you're limited to the amount of money you invested. So, and with an entrepreneur, it's their heart and soul. So you get the fun part of being an entrepreneur. That being said, there are very different mindsets.
But you are both.
But I am both.
Want to change the world.
Absolutely. But that's how we got to Gust. So Gust, which we have discussed, is certainly a vision to change the world as a totally disruptive company, and it would require such a long time to build and such a leap of faith, because remember, Gust is based on companies that don't exist.
And that's why I'm an entrepreneur, and you can talk to any entrepreneur, including entrepreneurs who have failed again and again and again, and they will tell you, no, it's not miserable. Yes, it's stressful. Yes, I'm spending all this time doing things. Yes, it failed. Yes, I have to get up and start again. Yes, I failed. Yes, the market failed and people didn't buy my product and the whole thing. But you know what? I'm doing it again because I love starting a company. I love being an entrepreneur. That's what entrepreneurs do.
Because that 1% person might succeed, might fail, but they will die trying. They will do whatever they have to do to make it work.
上期的创业美国节目中，我们介绍了靠小卫星玩转太空的创业公司 Spire。有粉丝提问，使用基于卫星的无线通讯数据是否会有法律限制？对某些特定国家来说，卫星数据传输对于私人卫星创业公司来说是否存在发展障碍？现在 CEO Peter 就来回答问题了。
So the restrictions from a licensing perspective are that whenever you want to talk with a satellite or the satellite wants to talk with the ground station, you need a license for that. So generally, the emission of radio frequency signals is licensed by the jurisdiction of the emitter. However, listening to RF signals is generally not requiring a license. Getting access to transmitting signals is a fairly well-regulated area. I think that will continue. I do think that certain possibilities that Spire has, because it was an early adopter, will become harder for followers to emulate and pick up.
看过本期节目，你是否也有一些问题想请教这位鼎鼎大名的天使投资人 David 呢？或者你也有好的创业项目，希望和他分享取经？搜索“创业美国”微信公众号，在文章下给我们留言，我们就有可能在下期节目中回答你的问题哦。因为自己呢亲身打拼过，所以呢 David Rose 很知道创业的艰辛，又自己呢做过20多年的投资人，也非常了解投资圈的险恶。可以说呢，没有什么人比 David Rose 更清楚创业者需要什么的了。所以现在David Rose 再次出山，创办一个为创业者服务的平台，让人非常的期待。现在呢，这个平台呢已经帮助呢接近1万个公司获得了融资，更多的公司通过它的平台 Gust 获得了起飞。那这个平台到底好在哪里？创业者又能获得什么样的帮助呢？关注我们3成视频的小片，回答你每一个问题。8月超美会员月来啦！除了可以低价购买我在喜马拉雅 FM 的精品栏目10大顶级富豪每日必读，更重要的是我们的专属会员群正式升级，你将有机会免费参与专家互动，收听我的财经语音辣评，获得顶级付费媒体的英文原文阅读，参与会员内部交流分享会，并有10大行业专家顾问团解惑，不定期抽奖等8重惊喜福利。扫描2维码关注创业美国官方微博，更多详情随时送上哦。